Welcome to the annual Problem-Based Learning Virtual Conference. My name is Camila Turieta, and today I will serve as your presenter. We do hope that this conference is filled with meaningful and valuable experiences that you as an educator will be able to take back to the classroom. As we mentioned today, we will be covering the topic of problem-based learning, also known as PBL. The overview of the presentation includes the following components. What is problem-based learning? The background of PBL, the current state of PBL, the future of PBL, and closing remarks. Educators often ask, what is problem-based learning? According to Barrell in 2007, problem-based learning is defined as a process of investigation in which the students try to solve curiosities, doubts, uncertainties, and problems in real-life context. Problem-based learning is a constructivist, self-directed, collaborative, and contextual process. It also allows students to improve questioning, problem-solving, creative critical thinking, reflective, and teamwork skills, according to Dolmans, Brave, Wolfhagen, and Glauton 2005. Problem-based learning also enhances students' autonomy and encourages them to construe knowledge using real-life problems, according to Crawford in 2011. But where did this type of learning come from? Will provide the background and evolution of problem-based learning. Problem-based learning was originally popularized in the 1960s by Howard Barrows and his colleagues at McMaster University in Ontario, Canada. The problem-based learning was developed partly in response to the predominantly content-driven transmission educative model in the medical program at McMaster. Problem-based learning arose out of a desire to give students the opportunity to apply practices and theoretical knowledge to problems or scenarios within the professional or clinical setting. Crucially, in interactive collaboration with colleagues, thus replicating features of the real-life context of application. Burroughs and Tamblins in a 1980 study, the approach adopted at McMaster marked a clear move away from problem-solving learning, in which individual students answered a series of questions from information supplied by a lecturer. 7 Bade, Thoms, and Winpenny in 2011. Students in small teams would explore a problem situation, and through this exploration were expected to examine the gaps in their own knowledge and skills in order to decide what information they needed to acquire in order to resolve or manage the situation with which they were presented. The problems, also termed scenarios, are central to student learning in each component of the curriculum. In a meta-analysis research, Strobel and Barnefeld, 2009, found that problem-based learning is more effective than traditional approaches in terms of long-term retention of knowledge and skills. Problem-based learning has become an increasingly influential approach in curricula in a variety of settings across a range of subject areas that include the medical, aviation, engineering fields, amongst others. Problem-based learning online is defined as students working in teams of 4 to 6 on a series of problem scenarios that combine to make up a module or unit that may then form a program, according to Savin, Batten, and Wilkie 2006. Students are expected to work collaboratively to solve or manage the problem. Students will work in real time or asynchronously, but what is important is that they work together, according to Gersel and Kessler in 2009. Currently, synchronous collaboration tools are vital for the effective use of PBL online because tools such as chat, shared whiteboards, video conferences, and group browsing are central to ensuring collaboration within the problem-based learning team. Students may be working at a distance or on a campus, but they will begin by working out what they need to learn to engage with the problem situation, according to Senda and Odaba in 2009. This may take place through a shared whiteboard, conferring, or an email discussion group. What is also important is that students have both access to the objectives of the module and also the ability to negotiate their own learning needs in the context of the given outcomes. Facilitation occurs through the tutor having access to the ongoing discussions without necessarily participating in them. Tutors also plan real-time sessions with the PBL online team in order to engage with the discussion and facilitate the learning. Learning over the decades has evolved into one of the most used learning styles in the medical, aviation, and engineering fields, as previously mentioned. Although problem-based learning is the preferred methods in these career fields because of the ability to solve real-life problems in problem-based courses. In problem-based learning is known as team-based learning. As we have explored in the introduction of problem-based learning into any educational program requires preparation and adjustment on the parts of students, faculty, and institutions, especially when those students tend to originate directly from a didactic secondary education. Students new to problem-based learning take time to adapt to this new approach of learning. This pedagogy differs from their past educational experiences, which are commonly discipline-based and teacher-centered. Problem-based learning is known to be resource-intensive, according to Mosley 2007. Hence, many institutions have difficulty in applying such resource-intensive educational approaches. They require an increased number of trained faculty, major curriculum reform, and continuous institutional and leadership support. An educational approach analogous but with distinctive differences to problem-based learning is a team-based learning, TBL. It is described and used successfully in business according to Michelson et al. 1997, and more recently in medical education, Michelson LL 2002, Hayden et al. 2002, Cyril et al. 2003. It resembles problem-based learning by providing small group learning experience but with more tutor guidance. Lastly, another innovation taking place in the world of problem-based learning includes the Preview Project. This project will investigate, implement, and evaluate a user-focused approach to developing scenarios and materials, linking the emerging technologies of virtual worlds with interactive problem-based online, known as PBL Online. To create and immerse collaborative tutorials, the project team is led by Coventry University and its partner, St. George's University of London. Will implement and evaluate a user-focused approach to develop problem-based learning environments and good practice materials. The project aims to achieve by linking the emerging technologies of virtual worlds with interactive problem-based learning online to create immersive, collaborative tutorials in the virtual world Second Life, which allows distance learners from the geographically distant institution to meet in-world and collaborate around the case. This environment differs radically from the virtual learning in that it draws on a primarily visual set of semiotic resources, with each participant having an online presence or avatar to aid their communication. The aims of the Preview Project, according to Savin Baden Toombs and Wimpenny in 2011, are to deliver problem-based learning in Second Life, develop 8 interactive problem-based learning scenarios, guide development and evaluation alongside users, develop guidelines and best practice for delivering problem-based learning in immersed worlds, and share outputs and technology. Remarks: whether it is a module or a whole program that is being designed, the starting point should be a set of problem scenarios that enable students to become independent inquirers and help them to see learning and knowledge as flexible entities. To date, there has been little in-depth discussion about the design of problem-based curricula. Instead, the discussions have tended to center on what counts as problem-based learning, ways of implementing it, and types of problem-based learning, but the future of problem-based learning seems bright with the various technological advancements. These technological advancements will allow problem-based learning to have a greater impact in the e-learning classroom as it will unite many students and colleagues around the world for the purpose of learning. Once again, my name is Camila Turrieta, and thank you for attending the Problem-Based Learning Conference.